if you think of it this way, you got a beach ball, right? And if you sit, if Graham, you come and you sit on that beach ball, right? You're going to compress it this way, and the pressure will push out this way, right? So if the stresses are evenly distributed around it, you'll have a uniform radius. The axis will be uniform in any direction. If you compress the beach ball, which is the huge mass of glacial ice forming, compressing the North American continent. Now what you have to have is, as you get below the crust into the asthenosphere, you now get into this ductile plastic mass. Well, Hawaii is along a volcanic zone. Yeah, I mean, it's the whole succession of islands was produced by magma coming up through the crust. If again, taking Plato at face value, Atlantis had colonies, and it had outlying, trade networks, which clearly implied we're in the Mediterranean. When you begin to look at mythology of the Western Hemisphere, there's plenty of stuff in there that could be consistent with a migration from the East.
Yeah.
Now if you want to just hypothesize that there was a civilization that rose up on these islands during the Ice Age, if I was going to try to imagine a scenario, I would picture that, meltwater pulse 1A at 14.6 probably caused a lot of seismic and volcanic response, which would have directly affected anything that was going on in the Azores. And the motive to become imperialistic, especially if you look at what other cultures have done when faced with rapidly rising sea levels, is to build seawalls. So, nothing explicitly mentioned by Plato about importing slaves for that purpose, but they were being imported for something. Others, may have seen the handwriting on the wall as sea levels continued to rise. And then at 12,900, there was probably a rapid rise in sea level. I haven't seen the studies from the Atlantic, but there was certainly evidence that there was a gigantic influx of fresh water into the Arctic Ocean at that time, as well as probably into the North Atlantic. And that could have been the coup de grace. That could have been the thing that finally caused enough of a seismic response along the mid-Atlantic ridge that it pretty much wiped out any culture that was living on that island group there.
Which lines up with Plato's timeline as well.
Do you have that type of map of the Mediterranean that shows the what it was like 400 feet below? Or
well, yes, I do.
Because is there a Suez Canal then? Like, is the Suez Canal man-made?
No, that's the
no, Darren.
No, so that was so does that canal still there?
The Straits of Gibraltar?
Less water. The Straits of Gibraltar on the east end, right? I'm thinking at the west end. The west end's the
northeast. No, other way around. You're thinking
the east end. The other way around.
Let's see what I can pull up here to.
Because the east end's the Suez Canal, right?
I think so. Like even the Straits of Gibraltar with 400 feet less. Like it would have been way easier to cross. I mean, if the pillars of Hercules.
They must have been impressive with 400 feet less water.
Ferries cross between the two continents every day in as little as 35 minutes. Part of the northern coast of the strait lies within Spain's El Estrecho National Park. Huh.
That'd be a cool spot to go check out.
Well, this is why I'm wanting to do an Atlantis tour.
We'll need a boat.
Yep. So... is that something you can get on, Darren?
I'll start working on the boat. I've kind of been working on a boat already, so could work out.
Now, this map shows very clearly the continental shelves. Look around the UK, United Kingdom here.
Oh, yeah, that's right. There it is.
Now, here's the thing. During the Ice Age, these weren't even islands. This was all a unified landmass here. What it meant was that the Mediterranean was much smaller than it is now, because again, it would have been 400 feet lower.
Mm-hmm.
Because
even east of Greece and west of Turkey there, right? Like, what would you do if you had a bit of money? What would the first thing you could do to try and research this a little deeper?
Oh, a submersible.
Submersible? Just checking out the plateaus, looking for what? Like man-made pillars and shit like that down there?
You know, it probably happened in a series of spasms, right? Major earthquakes. And you might have had subsidence of hundreds of feet at one time. So a lot of what might have been there down on the lower, near the bases of the mountains, could be buried under hundreds of feet of sediment.
Yeah.
But, you know, maybe the sediment might have preserved some stuff.
Yeah.
We're up to about 60 episodes
Nice.
now. The first 5, I'm pretty sure it was 5, are devoted to the whole in-depth discussion of Atlantis. I mean, look, we barely touched upon anything here.
Yeah.
But what we looked at it's pretty cool, isn't it?
It is
Oh,
cool.
yeah,
I
yeah,
really
it's
like the
fantastic.
maps where you can drop and raise and lower the sea level and
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, isn't that great? Yeah.
That's something else.
There is there's amazing stuff happening. And I think, you know, as this network of us guys and people who are into this grows, and we start sharing more research and resources and stuff, I mean, I think it's going to be game changing.
I agree. It puts context as well into what's happening in our contemporary society with all the fear mongering and the climate change and all that other stuff. When you talk about stuff like this and that islands are disappearing and sea levels rising hundreds of feet, it should put some context on what's happening now, I think. I think it's important to learn that.
It is. And the problem is that there's been a huge hijacking of the science, and it's emphasizing only one interpretation of the science to the neglect of other interpretation. And the narrative now is that human beings are pretty much the sole cause of climate change. And that is about as far from the truth as you could possibly get. Where you're at now, up there, you were under a mile of ice.
Yeah.
Where you guys are sitting right now, there was a mile of ice.
Yep, that map that I got you from you a few weeks ago shows that North American ice, and it was going all the way down into the States.
Yeah.
That ice sheet. The two
Crazy.
ice
That
sheets.
ice sheet is bigger than the one that now covers the South Pole.
Yeah.
So it's not at all any kind of hyperbole or exaggeration to say that, you know, half of North America, the only modern analog for the climate of half of North America is the South fucking pole. There's a lot of stuff that mainstream science is deliberately, I'll say mainstream politicized science is deliberately ignoring.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Deliberately.
Well,
Because it does not fit the narrative.
Well, you're going to do that on Cosmographia, so you can come here and warm up with us and get your feet wet in there
practice.
and
Happy for you
practice.
guys. I love hanging out with you guys.
Awesome.
All right,
And
Randall.
can't wait till May.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right on.
Neither
God,
can
I
we. We're
hope this
looking for. Well, this has been a great time, Randall. Thanks for helping us out with episode number 1.
My pleasure and my honor, gentlemen.
Thanks, buddy.
Bye for now.
All right.
Oop, and that was our chat with the fabulous Randall Carlson. What'd you think, buddy?
Oh, yeah. Fantastic. Those are the maps I've been waiting for.